Okay. Good evening, everyone. It's honestly so nice to be here. Earlier, even just walking around campus, I think it's so surreal, but in the best of ways, because while it's unrecognizable, I think the campus a little bit, it's like I felt like I was back again being 17. So 17 again, there's a movie like that. So yeah, kind of interesting, but yeah, thank you for having me. As mentioned, my name is Kayla Clarke. I'm an alumna of the Stansted class of 2015. I'm also, fun fact, the little sister of the guy you probably see in the gymnasium, that picture, that basketball guy, that's my big brother. So fun fact. Yeah, like I said, standing here 10 years later feels pretty surreal, and I'd really like to share with you guys a bit about my journey since leaving Stansted and the lessons I've learned and the research that I'm currently doing. So when I first came to Stansted from Ottawa, Ontario, I really had no idea what to expect, but what I gained was essentially a plethora of different things. A sense of independence was one, exposure to different cultures. You guys all have noticed that, of course. University prep that you really won't appreciate until you get to university. You're gonna really thank all your teachers later. And also just a newfound confidence in my abilities, especially in French, because I had asked back then for Madame D and also my roommate Sam at the time to only speak to me in French, and they did, and I think that's when I fully became bilingual, so shout out to them. So these experiences really gave me a foundation that I essentially carried on with for years to come after that. Like many of you, I had those same conversations with Ms. Hessian about where I wanted to go after graduation. And while we often hear stories about people who probably weren't sure about their path in high school, I was one of those who felt that I did know. I thought I knew exactly what I wanted to do because writing stories was a huge passion of mine, and I was determined to pursue it as a career. 10 years later, here I am. I'm still writing, but now in ways that I never really imagined prior. You might also often hear about people who thought they knew what they wanted to do, and then they completely switched paths, and that's not my story either. When I was a teen, I felt as though my journey was less about trading endeavors or objectives and more about making room and making space for more things that you love, but you kind of have to go about it in a different way. So I started at York University in Toronto after Stansted. I pursued screenwriting within an under an undecided major, which is pretty interesting. Like I said, since I loved writing so much, I really thought that was it, and that love has never dissipated. I still love screenwriting today as much as I did back then. However, during my time at York, I really discovered I had this nagging feeling in which I really wanted to explore politics some more. It was something that I couldn't quite shake, and as Ms. Crothers had mentioned, that's because of Mr. Ryu, for sure. When I took a comparative politics class here in 12th grade, I didn't really know much about politics before that, but I think it really shifted my interest in terms of I always thought it was going to be writing for me, and once I realized that there was writing but maybe about a different subject, it wouldn't let me go. So essentially what I did was I transferred to the University of Windsor, where I double majored in political science for that intellectual stimulation that I really wanted, and communication, media, and film, so that I could continue screenwriting at the same time. This allowed me to screenwrite while also diving into politics and exploring how communication, especially technological communication under a communications major, impacts the world. So my double major decision was incredibly pivotal for me. Looking back, I can confidently say, and I say it in every paper that I write so far, that it was the best decision I ever made. The most fascinating part about being a double major in my undergrad was seeing the intersections and really identifying it, because you'd think they are completely different paths, and that really wasn't the case. So for example, in poli-sci courses, we would analyze, say, a specific election, and we'd analyze it using a historical lens or a systemic lens. But then in my communications classes, we'd analyze that exact same election. However, we'd analyze it from a modern/futuristic AI social media communicative lens, the exact same election, but different, definitely different approaches in terms of how you research it. When I discovered, my father also works in AI, so I think I maybe was trying to run from it a bit, but I ended up going down that path and really realizing again that I loved AI as well, so that means I just incorporated it. I didn't switch my subject completely, I just incorporated that into what I want to study as well. So this dual perspective essentially enriched my understanding and really sparked my interest in AI, technology, and law. After graduating from the University of Windsor in 2020, I was encouraged by my undergraduate mentors to pursue a master's degree. So I earned a master's in communicative social justice in 2023, all completed during the height of the pandemic. I kind of say 0 to 10, do not recommend. It was really hard, but now I'm better for it. My master's research was about I was essentially researching technological data bills in Canada and how they affect Indigenous communities differently, or how they may affect them differently. And my master's research gave me a chance to present at my very first conference and also my second conference, which were amazing experiences, and publish my first article, Alexa, Please Babysit My Child. I do not have a child yet. We'll see. Yes, and that Alexa, Please Babysit My Child is essentially about me asking researchers what it means long-term for children who will have Alexa who is soothing a baby, because I think we've all seen that moment where maybe a baby is crying and then maybe a parent gives them Alexa to play with. So I'm looking at Alexa being a babysitter and Alexa helping with their homework every night, and that's where the Alexa Please Tutor My Child came in. So my Alexa studies weren't really able to be fully explored during my MA due to time restraints, unfortunately. So I was able to listen to the advice of my undergraduate mentors, and I saved it as the foundation for the research that I'm doing today. And then that's when I decided to apply for a PhD. So currently, I'm a second-year PhD candidate, halfway through. Let's see how it goes. I like it right now. At Carleton University, I'm specializing in communications and political economics. So 3 degrees later, I'm still in that intersection where there's two completely different subject matters, but I found a middle ground, and that's where I keep telling people that's where I live. The dissertation I'm working on is the tutoring of looking at Alexa as a tutor, and that just looks at the impact of voice-activated assistants affecting students born after 2010, and I'm looking at that generation specifically just because they were the kids that were most likely born with Alexa in their hands versus were taught about it later on. Within classrooms across North America. I'm focusing on the disparity applications of these applications and the educational equity. My research is inspired by questions about how these technologies shape children's development and the potential biases within them. So when I'm referring to biases, it's one thing that kind of sparked my interest when I first started hearing about AI was that there are certain examples that show within studies that have shown that AI systems, unfortunately, can have harmful biases embedded in them. So, for example, one study did a beauty pageant but had AI be the judges, and AI unfortunately automatically ranked the contestants with darker skin lower because it interpreted the darker pigmentation as dirt. Similarly, at top schools, even like MIT, some AI sensors that are used to help other people couldn't detect the movement of darker hands whatsoever when they were waving for help. So you can kind of see how that can be problematic. These examples really highlighted why it's so important to create inclusive technologies, and that's where my passion lies, helping shape AI to be fair, accessible, and beneficial for everyone. But I want you guys to know that I'm not here to tell you that AI is inherently bad, nor is it scary. I think you hear that a lot. In fact, I'm really optimistic about its potential. Also, my dad might be out of job. No, it's fine, I like it. AI systems learn through machine learning, which means that the more we refine them and improve them, the better that they become. And what I see my role as is basically being a helping hand within this progress, whether that's through policy development, education, or research behind the scenes, the exact same way that I was a screenwriter behind the movies. I want to do this to ensure that AI systems are tools that are used for good, especially when it comes to children who aren't old enough to have anyone speak up for them. In addition to my academic journey, I've embraced a variety of jobs and interests along the way. I've worked, and I currently still work as a teaching assistant at different universities. I'm at Carleton right now, tutoring students in political science help centers, and I finished full screenplays, and I also played my sport professionally for 2 years while balancing my studies, but I will say with difficulty. It's not easy, oh my goodness. Again, these experiences taught me that you don't have to sacrifice any of your passions to succeed. You can integrate them into your life by making room for them. But again, not very easy, but you can do it. So I want to mention that Stansted is really what taught me this lesson early on, that you really don't have to put yourself in a box. You can pursue multiple passions, explore different paths, and really expand your horizons. When I was sitting exactly where you guys were 10 years ago, I never imagined I would be studying AI or that I'd be blending my love for screenwriting with political science. But by staying curious and a bit stubborn while being open to new opportunities, I was really able to forge my own path that felt right to me. So before I get off, I just want to thank the incredible faculty at Stansted, Ms. Hessian, Mr. Ryu, Ms. Carruthers, Mr. Van Dyke, so many others, honestly, I can't even mention them all, for inspiring me and really giving me the foundation to succeed. The lessons I learned here still influence my work today, and I talk about Stansted a lot to anyone who asks. To all of you, my message is essentially this: you don't have to have everything figured out now. Your path may evolve, and that's okay. You don't have to choose one thing or stick to any type of rigid plan. You can expand, explore, and create a path that's uniquely yours. Contrary to popular belief, our careers can sometimes be as diverse as we feel inside. If the last 10 years taught me anything, it's that life isn't about choosing one thing. It's about building a life that really reflects who you are. So don't be afraid to explore research that crosses different disciplines either. It's becoming more and more valued today. If you're passionate, even now while you go to class, about different subjects that kind of excite you when you go to this class and this class in high school, you don't essentially have to choose just one. And you certainly don't have to figure it out right now or even in your first year, because I figured that out when I went to my second year of university. Academia may seem rigid, and the new path that you take that is interdisciplinary might feel pretty lonely just because you might be one of the only ones in that path, forging that path, but I can tell you from experience that it's worth it if it makes you happy. So I think the last thing I'm going to tell you guys that if you'd like to know more about my research or have any questions for me, I will be at the back there afterwards, so feel free to approach. I am happy to answer any questions and help people the same way that the Stansted alum really helped me when I was in your shoes. Yeah, thank you so much for your time.